Oops, seems like it's frozen. Okay, hello. Ladies, so good to have you here. Today is Thursday, January 17th, and I'm delighted to be back in this group giving you another training. A lot of times I'm picking trainings based on just questions that I get from people or things that I hear over and over and over again that I'm like, stop saying that. So that is something that we're going into today. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Katie Collins, and I work with coaches, online experts, and wellness practitioners or healers, really get their business to a point where they have that consistent income. Most of my clients would be happy with at least $5,000 a month in income, and then the goal is to get to the $10,000 a month income. And so what I do is make sure that the packages, pricing, programs, and your messaging is aligned with the money goals that you have set for yourself. And the beauty of that is when you do get that consistent income in your business, you finally get to pay off the credit card debt instead of always putting things onto a credit card, and take a vacation and actually afford to go somewhere. So it's super exciting to get that result, and I love helping people get there. So I would love to know whether you're here live or if you join us later on. I just want you to put a yes in the comments if you've been struggling to find an effective marketing strategy that actually works, that you enjoy doing. So go ahead and put a yes in the comments if that is you. And again, whether you're watching this live or the replay, I just like to get a sense of, who's here, who's popping in and watching, and, who's been interested in this topic. So I just want to say I totally relate to, what I used to say is I don't know crap about sales and marketing. So you can imagine how well that worked for me, saying that over and over again. And I really felt like when I saw other people marketing, for example, the JV partnerships, I would be on a bunch of different lists because I was just getting started. And, in one day, I would get the same freaking email, almost verbatim, from 5 different people that were promoting, one particular person's thing. And I was like, ew, I hate this strategy. I just don't want to do stuff like that. Other strategies just felt icky. In fact, I just had a meeting with someone the other day, and she kind of poo-pooed my dream and told me that, what she's seen is that that's, really hard to do. And I just was like, not a good way to get a client, right? Like, I don't want to work with someone that's going to poo-poo the dream that I have. I want to work with people that are excited for me and say, yes, you can totally do that, and let's do that together, right? So I know there are marketing things out there that you may have seen that made you feel so gross, so icky, so unappreciated, or just like bashed by somebody. And if you're the heart-centered entrepreneur that I tend to attract, because I too act that way as a heart-centered entrepreneur, it gets super scary to think, oh, is this what I have to do in order to get my business going? So the answer is no, you don't have to do anything sleazy. Hi, Jeanette. Thanks for being here. You don't have to do anything sleazy to market your business. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is are strategies that have worked for me, that have made me feel happy when delivering them. And that's the most important thing. If you get energized by the marketing strategies that you're deciding to do, then it just makes, imagine the energetic flow in your business when you're energized in a happy way by what you're doing, right? So that's what I'm going to teach you today. Okay, so at the end of this training, I'll invite you to grab a copy of my newest free gift. It's the 5K month roadmap, which is your path to consistent cash, so that you can learn even more about effective ways to market yourself. Step 3 in that roadmap, it's an 8-step system. Literally, it's the exact steps that I took to build my business and get it to a point where, I more than doubled my teaching salary that I had previously. And so step 3 is all about establishing your credibility and authority. And so today, that's what I'm going to give you tips on doing. All right, so who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I have been business coaching for coaches, online experts, and healers for the last 5 years. helping them build a business so that the consistent income is at the forefront of what we're doing. And over a 2-year period, I worked for another coaching company and I led the sales teams for that 7-figure business. And we brought in over $4 million in coaching packages. And so what I know a lot about is how to build a business and then how to enroll someone into your offer so that you can help them get the results that you're super excited about helping people get. So while working with so many coaches and online experts and healers, like I've had over 200 clients so far, I've noticed something pretty big, and I can't ignore it, and I just want to bring it to the forefront today. It seems like everyone has been making this mistake, and so I just want to really help stop it. And that is when people say, oh, I've already tried that, it didn't work. Or, oh, I already know that. Right? So I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but internally you can raise your hand and say, yeah, I've said that before. Now, sometimes you're right. You've tried something and it didn't work. It either didn't align with you or whatever. But a lot of times it didn't work for a different reason. And I want you to really be willing to dig into what the reason was, why it may not have worked or why it didn't feel good, so that you can pivot instead of stopping completely doing something. Okay, so hi Lauren, thanks for being here. All right, so I do want to say this. If you're saying things like that, like, oh, I've already tried that, didn't work, or, oh, I already know that. Yeah, I already know that. Okay, what you're coming up against right now is resistance, right? It's like your kind of ego self, the subconscious scripts that are running through you is like, because when I tried that last time, I got hurt. Right? I got rejected. No one listened to me. No one took me up on my offer. It's rejection. It feels like crap. I totally get it, right? Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. We have to be willing to put ourselves out there again and again and again. And so it's not about doing the same thing over and over, even though you don't like it, but it's about looking, tracking, and pivoting so that you are excited about what you're doing. Okay, so let me just look at my notes here. What do I want to go over? All right, the first thing I want to talk about is effective marketing strategies, because these are things that helped me, continue to help me, and feed me, like feed my soul. I love doing it so much. All right, the first thing is actually using your email list. So you want to create a freebie, and you want to get as many people as possible to opt in for that freebie. But before you put it out there live, you also want to have an email funnel attached to that freebie. And that email funnel should eventually lead to a call to action to work with you. Now, it could very well just be a call to action to have a consultation with you. And there are a variety of ways to do funnels, and we're not going to get into all of that today. But knowing that you want to create a freebie and you want to create an email funnel that when someone opts in for your freebie, they're going to get a series of dripped content emails that lead them somewhere. Okay? All right, so networking is another one. I'm going to chat a little bit about email lists again later, so just hold tight to that. But just moving down my effective marketing strategies, I have found networking to be an amazing way to build my business and build connection. I have found that paid groups fare better for me than free. And I've found that like belonging somewhere where I know I'm going to show up every month and people can get used to knowing I show up every month. I'm in a mastermind group in Boulder. I drive there once a month. I show up every single time. I've probably missed 2 meetings in the last year. And, I belong to the Polka Dot Powerhouse group here in Denver. They are nationwide, so, we're not in all 50 states, but we're in several. So go to polkadotpowerhouse.com if you want to check out if you've got one in your neighborhood. We have 4 in Colorado, and actually I just read that we're getting a 5th one in the Golden area, so that's exciting. But what I love about it is I do get to see the same people over and over again, but Polka Dots is such a big group that I'm not seeing the same people. I'm seeing some of the same people every month, but each meeting is different, and I have the capability or capacity to meet over 100 people, because that's how big our group is. and there's 3 different meetings. So depending on the meeting I go to, I'm going to meet a lot of other people. So I love networking, and there's a way to learn how to do networking right, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But just moving through the effective strategies that I like to do. Speaking to groups is another one. You really want to perfect your talk. Like, what's your signature talk that you want to do? And then offer a freebie at the very least, but you also want to be offering, free or low cost consultations just for a way to stay connected to the people that are super excited and leaning in to working with you. So there's that freebie again, right? So ideally you're getting them into your funnel even if they didn't want to sign up for a session with you at that time. What I found is a lot of people are looking at what their next move is, but they're looking at that sometimes a few months before they're ready to pull the trigger, so to speak. So it's important to have that follow-up and get them into your funnel so that they're getting to know you while they're in that decision-making stage. All right, so speaking to groups, other strategy is attending other people's live events. So how can this be an effective marketing strategy? Well, number 1, you get inspiration. You get to see what other people are doing. And number 2, who can you meet in that room? Who might be a potential power partner for you or a potential client? Always having the freebie on the forefront of your mind that you can talk about and offer people, hey, if you'd like me to send that to you, go ahead and give me a business card. I'd be happy to email that to you. You're simply adding them to your email list yourself instead of telling them to opt in, right? So just making it really easy for people. So I love attending live events. Not only does it energize me, but I get to meet a lot of potential friends, power partners, potential clients. All right, and then also showing up consistently in some Facebook groups and adding value and support. And there's a caveat to that, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But that is an effective strategy if you do it well. Okay, so moving into my ineffective, don't do these strategies. All right, so you may get mad at this one, but the first one I wrote was flyers. Handing out flyers or thinking that you're going to hang them up in the local spiritual bookstore or something, pretty ineffective. People may read it and say, oh, that's nice, but very few actually save it, take action, go home. Then they have to copy the link to put it into their computer to find out what's going on about it, right? So I feel like flyers are a bit of a waste of time. I have tried them in various forms. I've tried networking with them with just a real small flyer, and I just found that it didn't do me any good. So in my opinion, flyers are ineffective. And of course, it depends what you're selling, of course. If you have an office where you're seeing patients and you hang a flyer in your office, that's a completely different thing because they're already leaning in clientele. So I'm just talking about flyers in the public, handing them out to people that barely know you. Okay, next thing is when you're in Facebook groups and you're posting, valuable content, don't post the same content in several different groups in the same minute. Why? Because I'm in several groups with you and I see that you've posted it here and then again here and then again here in my newsfeed. And it's just a turnoff. It doesn't feel like you really put some effort into showing up to that specific group and giving content to that specific group. All you're doing is cutting and pasting, and I can tell, and it just feels kind of tacky. So I'm not saying you can't put the same content in different groups. I just wouldn't do it at the exact same time. And I would put my focus on 3 or 4 groups that are doing me well, than going into 8 groups and just randomly posting stuff. Okay. Another ineffective strategy that I see a lot of people doing is using the same content, the same video, or the same offer over and over and over again. And what happens is it's just like marketing fatigue for your people. They've seen you in that shirt, in that video over and over and over again. And so they're like, oh, I've already seen that. Even if they haven't watched it, right? It just creates a fatigue. It's like people just get bored if you keep putting out the same stuff or if your consultation always has the same name. And so just change it up a little bit so that you're not just regurgitating something, because guess what? If it's not working, or if it didn't work last week, it's not going to work because you keep reposting it this week, 18 different places. So change it up a little bit. All right, and then another ineffective strategy that I don't want you to do is emailing a newsletter only once a month. All right, so I didn't get into it too much because I just don't have all that much time to get into all of these deeper. But to me, what I've learned most this last year is people like hearing from you more frequently. And, I had a session with someone where I was saying this, like, imagine if only 25% of the people are opening your email. So let's say you've got 100 people on your email list and only 25% are opening an email. So that's 25 people that opened your email. If you're emailing once a month, maybe the next month, 25 other people are going to open it, maybe 20 of the same, maybe 15 of the same, and then, 5 or 10 new. Those new people are like, wow, I haven't heard from that person in like forever. And so they don't know you. They're not connected to you, right? So it could be like literally 90 days before they actually open up your email. So imagine emailing them 3 times a week instead. And you may think that's a lot, but guess what? You don't have to control your ideal client's email inbox. They get to do that. And if you have a hot subject line, they're going to choose to open it because they like to hear from you. So don't worry about, oh, I'm going to overwhelm them or they're going to hate me because I'm sending too many emails. Nope, I don't think so. I think what got annoying, and what I mentioned earlier with the JV partnerships, those emails got ridiculous, right? If you're marketing the same product and you send it 6 different times that week because the doors are closing or whatever, that's annoying. But if you're sending valuable content, people love it. So I would really encourage you to send an email more than once a month. And I'm loving like the 3 times a week strategy when I'm really on my game. I just get so much more engagement with people. People reply, they get to know me. When I'm seeing people out and about, they'll mention it, like, oh, I've been reading your emails. Like, it just feels so good. And I'm noticing that my open rate is higher now that I'm emailing people more frequently. So that's a little tidbit for you. All right, so that's it for the ineffective don't do the strategies. Flyers, posting the same content in groups within the same minute, using the same content over and over and over again, and sending a newsletter only once a month. All right, and then my last thing I wanted to go over was 2 important keys that we can use to make networking more successful. So the problem that I had over and over was people became my friend, but I felt like they weren't seeing me in an authoritative way. And it was really because of the way I was being. So I've learned how to really stop doing that so people can really see me as a potential expert in certain areas, especially around sales and client attraction. So the reason why they now know that is because I've come up with a 30-second intro. So this is key number 1. Having a 30-second intro that speaks directly to your ideal client and the problems that they have. So too often people talk about themselves. I do this and I went to this, or I got certified in this and I use this process. None of that is really going to impress them. But if you talk about them and their struggles, right? I help coaches, healers, and online experts who don't have enough clients to have their business be sustainable, right? Now they're perking up. They're like, oh my gosh, that's me. Tell me what you do, right? And I teach them visibility and sales strategies, or, that's not exactly my 30-second intro, but you get the gist. So I'm naming my ideal client and I'm talking about the problems they have and the solution that I help provide. So that's key number 1, great 30-second intro that you feel comfortable saying too. So you've got to really kind of practice it and let it roll off your tongue in a very conversational way. Okay, and then key number 2 is really having a good follow-up system to connect and get them in your funnel eventually if they are an ideal client, right? So I've showed this before. Let's see if it's I have like a client tracker, and so I'm like writing down names of everybody that is on my calendar already, or people, once I come home from a meeting, I'm going to come back and write down names of people that I've booked connection calls with or that gave me their business card. even if they gave me their business card for my freebie that I'm going to announce at the meeting, right? I want to personally follow up with them. Hey, were you able to read that? How did it go for you? Do you have any questions? What do you think your biggest challenge is when it comes to blah, 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 right? And I have a whole kind of follow-up system so that people are connected to me and I'm connected to them in a real authentic way. And I know these people. I care about these people, right? They're not leads, so to speak. They're potential something, right? And they may be potential partners, potential friends, potential clients. I don't know, but I'm going to stay connected to them and serve them as much as I possibly can. So those are the 2 keys to make networking successful: having a hot 30-second intro, and then making sure that you have a follow-up system so that you don't have a pile of business cards on your desk with no use to them. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I just want to say, if you haven't yet downloaded my 5K month roadmap, which is your path to consistent cash, I encourage you to go to my website, CoachKatieCollins.com, and you just click on the Get Started button and enter your name and email, and you'll get it immediately. And you'll get a couple of emails just to get to know me and what to expect from me, and all the value that I've got planned for you. And let me know what you think about it. You know, you can always hit reply to any email. I love hearing from you. So let me know. And then let me know in the comments, what was your biggest tip from today? Like, what did you hear today that you were like, aha, that is something that I'm going to take forward. All right, so that's it for now. Have an amazing Thursday. Thanks for being here, and tag some friends who you think might like this video as well, and invite them to join our group because it is getting bigger and better every day. And it's really my intention to create a strong sisterhood community. So I'm so glad that you're in the Entrepreneur Sisterhood. All right, have an awesome day. Bye.